Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency update. Welcome back to the channel, and like and subscribe if you like what you see. Just want to say thank you to everybody that reached out and was checking in on me. I know it's been almost a week since I've made a video, so I do appreciate that. And I'm going to get into this information. Please pardon any noise if my dog gets a little noisy today. And I'm basically going to do a synopsis over some of the important news points, my thoughts on the matter, and long-term thoughts and perspectives regarding XRP. So without further ado, let's get into this. So first things first, I am Legion to sharing this 10x growth per Ripple's website. So today we are thrilled to announce that we have surpassed 300 customers. Obviously, we have known this. In my opinion, I think it's much higher than just mere 300 because you have to consider the partners of their partners. Right now, they are just alluding to the RippleNet partners, but when you consider Temenos, Finastra, literally, we're talking the top 1,000 FIs and banks in the world. You have to realize the power of network effects, especially connecting to various payment providers and gateways. You really do have access to something much bigger than 300 customers. And when you consider R3, which is, top 300 of the, central banks and huge groups of the world, you have to realize the power of trade finance and not just remittance. Remittance that Ripple's tackling is going to be literally a drop in the bucket. All right, so you have to have the big picture and realize this is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm not trying to regurgitate what Brad Garlinghouse, CEO, says time and time again, but you have to realize that, and words do mean things. So right here, we also have 10x. We have seen 10x year-over-year growth in transactions on RippleNet. Now, this is not XRapid or on-demand liquidity, solely XRP usage. This is with XCurrent as well. So 10x year-over-year growth in transactions. What is good is we want to see that XCurrent or that RippleNet adoption as a whole, because that means we are pulling from the Swift network. Now, whether Ripple and Swift merge, whether they somehow acquire Swift or partner with them, who knows what kind of speculation that'll lead to, but we need to see more and more RippleNet customers coming because that is good, whether it's just taking from Swift GPI and using for XCurrent or eventually moving to XRapid or ODL, on-demand liquidity usage. That is exactly what we want to see and is what I want to see as an investor for XRP. Because when the price does move, when it is no longer suppressed by whatever forces there may be, whether obviously, I don't believe it's personally any specific group that is suppressing prices. You have to realize the power that exchanges have, the power that some big market makers have. You have to realize how manipulated the gold market is, the stock market. It's a complete joke with quantitative easing. The money is artificially pumped. Banks in these groups are getting money virtually free. And then, of course, they're going to do, buying back their own stocks. It's a no-brainer. You would do the same thing. And so basically they're just working the system. And I think that we have to realize that and capitalize on this as one of the biggest transfers of wealth when it does occur. So right here, RippleNet, our global network of banks, financial institutions, and payment providers that send money globally, instantly, and reliably for fractions of a penny. Just last year at our annual conference Swell, we announced ODL, on-demand liquidity, which leverages the digital asset XRP as a bridge currency to eliminate the need for pre-funding and cross-border payments. And a lot of people really do have short-term perspective. They buy XRP, they expect it to go up by tomorrow, and they have not even held for 4 years or 5 years. They've probably held, most of you have probably held for 2 years, and you're complaining. So my advice, get out then if you can't handle it. If you're just going to complain about price, nobody cares. Whether it's on a YouTube comment, you're speaking rudely to YouTubers, bloggers, anything, and you're talking crap about your investment, I can assure you that Ripple or any other investor or high net worth player could not care less. And I do not care if you're complaining. I care that you're informed, you have a good, healthy expectations, and you're looking towards the future. That's what I care about. Right here, MoneyGram and Philippines. So one of the core strengths of MoneyGram is our global liquidity and settlement engine that enables our customers to send money in over 200 countries and territories. Our partnership with Ripple has helped us to improve this strength. Let's see where we're at. And we've already started seeing the product's potential to streamline our back-end capabilities, said Alex Holmes, CEO of MoneyGram. For the first time, even we're settling currencies within seconds. Because of these results, we're expanding our partnership with Ripple and are excited to announce that we have started executing foreign currency trades with the Philippine peso using ODL, aka XRP. That's good news. And you guys, no matter how much good news you see, you're still going to be disappointed because you're focused merely on price. Right here, ODL first launched offering payment corridors in Mexico and the Philippines. Corridors have since expanded to Australia as well, with Brazil coming soon. Plans for additional corridors across APAC, EMEA, and Latin America are in progress for 2020. And for those of you that don't know, again, APAC is literally just the Asian Pacific region. And then right here, this is the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region as well. So this is going to happen into 2020. I know a lot of people are disheartened because you're focusing on mere price, and we realize the entire crypto market has been low. You might say, oh, well, XRP still to year to date is one of the best, assets. But for anyone that's been invested for 2 years, it's probably the lower performer. But for me, that's why it's such a good buy right now. When it's sitting at 25, 27, 31 cents, it's a no-brainer. I mean, to me, anything under $1, I'm scooping that up. I'm not trying to go too heavy in stocks right now and get 10% when everything could literally pop at any moment. Even if the stock market and the S&P 500 continue to see all-time highs, I know what XRP is going to become. I've never been more bullish. And of course, I want price to move. Don't get me wrong. It would be good to have some reassurance in terms of that performance, but I'm just sticking to the fundamentals. Anytime I want to complain, I go back and I look at everything, and it makes sense. Right here, blockchain backer. So overlaying the last XRP cycle fractal with the current fractal shows 3 things. Now, this is not financial advice. This is one guy's opinion. Check it out. I'm not backing him, but I wanted to show it. And he basically says, once we break 32 to 33 cents, this thing should start getting very interesting. And I'm sure you're all sick of price predictions because nothing's occurring, but just look at the fractal, whether you believe in cycle analysis or not. It is eerily similar when we do go into these 2-year cycles, 18-month cycles, 6-month cycles of bear markets historically. So, he believes we're somewhere around here. Will we see another drop? Are we moving in the right direction? Do you think we'll still see some growth by end of year? It's my belief we will. And you know what? That is just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I don't pretend to be right or know anything at all because I know what's coming long term and I stick to the fundamentals. Right here, XRP researcher. So the fact of the matter is, no matter what news we get out of Swell, and this was before Swell, people would still be unhappy. If a major bank was announced, people would complain, how come it's just 1? If 6 new partners were announced, people would complain, why not 12? Just relax, the price will go up over time. Love it. All right, Brad Garlinghouse, good things come in threes. At our 3rd annual Swell conference, we announced Ripple has 300 customers, more than 24 of which are using XRP through ODL. The network is stronger than ever, and momentum behind ODL is only the beginning. And absolutely, other groups are catching word. I want to capture market share, even if it's only getting people onto RippleNet, not even using ODL right away. That is what I want. It's going to have this snowball effect. You have to have that long-term vision. Next, XRP research. I know I've already said this, but I just want to emphasize. Breaking, so Ripple, 300 plus customers. RippleNet volume grew by 10x, and then on-demand liquidity, XRP specifically, was 7x. 24 signed on-demand liquidity customers, so 24, and then as well as the interbank partner, based out of Peru. This is bullish. And then again, expanding Australian dollar in 19, and then we're going to the Brazil real, excuse me. And we have Asian Pacific region, we have Europe, Middle East, and Africa. We are literally capturing the entire world. We've already, you already hear me talk about India time and time again, and there's already, the majority of the banks on RippleNet there, which is awesome. And don't even get me started on the Federal Reserve Bank of India. I know there's tons of speculation, but there's also government documents. So I highly recommend you guys literally just Google some things and actually teach yourself a few things instead of just watching YouTube. And then again, MoneyGram started using on-demand liquidity for the USD and Philippine peso pair. So we're just getting started, literally using percentages. Just imagine we go to 100% usage and other groups go on. Now, a lot of people say, okay, well, even if we get all of the remittance market, it's still not really going to move the dial. But the thing is, it will. There's going to be multiplier effects, exchanges. Huge groups do hold XRP. And when it's saving them money, just like David Schwartz says, banks will actually want to custody and hold XRP as well for payment flows. All right. And we got Bcash, QNB, Finastra joined RippleNet. Finastra is a massive group. I think it's the best news that Ripple has ever had ever. And this is the most bullish news for XRP ever. And if you guys, we talk about that too much, so I don't even need to go into detail, but please just realize the depth of this. They're creating cognitive dissonance, and they're creating, whether whoever's keeping price low, whether it's just a typical market cycle or market makers exchanges, whoever, you guys have to realize and look long-term what is happening. And that's just my opinion. And I've been in the space for a little while. I know it doesn't mean anything, even if you've been in the space for, 9 years or whatever, because everything is just so brand new. A lot is happening. I'm going to go through these articles really briefly if I see anything that's interesting. So again, blockchain payments firm Ripple. Notice how they're a payments company that utilizes blockchain. So they're not a blockchain company. Has said more than 24 ODL. And again, customer money transfer from MoneyGram. We got Via Americas and FlashFX, online workforce platform that connects employers with freelancers on GoLance and financial service providers. Interbank Peru, as I've already talked about. And then 7X, already covered that. Let me see. All right, we talked about that, so that is no worries. And I've been keeping up with news like crazy, so don't get me wrong, just a little disorganized here. And then again, Bcash. So makes banks accessible to 36 million in Bangladesh. So right here, citizens of Bangladesh face large financial challenges. More than 1/3 of the population lives below the poverty line, and too many have little to no access to services at traditional financial institutions. This almost reminds me of Africa with Mojaloop and all these different financial institutions, whether it's because of geographical terrain, they're all separated, whether it's different currencies, different messaging standards, and they want to create one protocol to allow interoperability. Sounds familiar? ILP. And again, and this is just helping the unbanked as well, not even just in Bangladesh or Africa or India. It's just helping everyday people and creating this level playing field. So again, enter Bcash Limited, one of the country's most popular mobile payment providers. And right here, in just over a decade, the company has driven significant impact throughout the country. Today, 36 million customers are part of the company's digital economy. 90% of them are newly banked because of the revolutionary services the company offers. Think of how many people have mobile phones in the world but don't even have a bank account. This is what they're tackling. This is a huge percentage. It might not be billions upon billions compared to what you're expecting, but again, this is a fraction, a slice of the pie that is unaccounted for. And this figure also represents 80% of the total market share in Bangladesh and amounts to 6.7 million payment transactions per day. Per day. So we have to kind of do the math from there as well. And there's different figures, of course. So again, long-term price predicting, it's anybody's guess. There's really no point. All I'm saying is it's significantly higher than 30 cents, whether that's $3, $5, $50, $100, even much higher, four figures. Nobody knows. I mean, unless you really do the math. And sometimes I do follow Michael Zischek and his calculations with the 4-digit XRP long-term when we see full-scale adoption through the world of trade finance and huge $50 million movements. Absolutely. Anything is possible, but we are so early, and I don't want to hype everybody up. We have to keep our feet on the ground, look at investment, de-risk appropriately. But again, in my opinion, this would be historically the worst time to sell when the market has been this low so long. Whatever I invest, I consider it gone. Whether I'm in profit or at a loss, I just consider it gone. I make a rule. I don't want to touch it for over a year. Capital gains, take advantage of the tax infrastructure or tax structure that I have in the States. To each your own, guys. I will not judge your decisions, but please do your own research. All right. Said all this, said this. All right, you get the gist with that. And then right here, XRParcade.com. So we have some cool infographics. I believe, what is his name? Leonidas. Did he create this? And he kind of added some more companies that are, running on Ripple today, along with some countries. So really cool. Again, XRParcade.com. I highly recommend you check that out. And then right here, we're going to finish off with this slide. So we got Leb Crypto. My opinion, XRP is not designed to be a global reserve currency. It's designed to be the global bridge asset for all currencies, assets, tokenized commodities, etc. And again, this is an reference to IOP. XRP plus IOP equals the Internet of Value. Combine that with smart contracts. And of course, we've gotten some great news with smart contracts adoption and implementation and development overall with Ripple specifically for XRP. The XRP ecosystem is growing. There are literally over 4,000 projects on coinmarketcap.com. Do you really believe that 4,000 are going to succeed? I would be, surprised if more than 100 actually succeed. That's why I'm investing the bulk of my money in projects that are actually solving and working for corporates today in solving literally a multi-trillion-dollar problem. Then right here, XRP Neo, Ripple themselves put it on Ripple's Insights on their website. That they are positioning XRP as the global digital reserve currency. And of course, it is all semantics. It will never be allowed to compete with fiat per se, but it will just be used as conversion, as this agnostic bridge asset. But focus is on governments and financial institutions holding it. All right. And I'm going to go over this in a future video, David Schwartz and some of his comments on how XRP's valuation can literally skyrocket. And it's my belief, guys, if you simply just hold, whether it is just a month from now or a few years, just forget about this investment. If you want to keep up to date with news, absolutely, but make sure you're taking care of your mental health, you know what you're doing, and learning along the way. With that, guys, I've been rambling enough, and I'll see you in the next video.